North Korean leader Kim Jong-un warned that the U.S. will pay dearly for President Donald Trump's recent threats and called the president deranged. After Kim's unusually direct rebuke, North Korea's foreign minister reportedly said the country might test a hydrogen bomb in the Pacific Ocean to fulfill Kim's promise to take the highest level action against the U.S. and Trump. North Korea's threats comes on the heels of Trump's sharply critical speech at the United Nations General Assembly early this week. In his inaugural address, Trump lambasted the rogue nation and promised to totally destroy North Korea should it continue to develop its nuclear weapons program. The president said North Korea's reckless pursuit of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles threatens the entire world with unthinkable loss of human life. The U.S. and its allies have been on alert since North Korea has tested intercontinental missiles into the Pacific near Japan and Guam, a U.S. territory with strategic importance. Pyongyang conducted its longest ever ballistic missile test flight last week. Since Kim Jong-un has taken over the nation, it has rapidly expanded and tested its missile arsenal with weapons capable of striking the U.S. mainland. He has reportedly said that his end goal is to establish the equilibrium of real force with the U.S. and make the U.S. rulers dare not talk about military options for the North. Read on for a brief look at how North Korea's nuclear weapons program has grown throughout the regimes. Kim Il-sung, leader from 1948-1994. Kim Il-sung can be credited with founding North Korea and propelling the nation's nuclear program forward, but he did not live to see his country conduct its first nuclear test. It was under the first Kim that North Korea began to build up its nuclear reactors. And it was under his leadership that the nation began the Korean War, surely a catalyst that led the leader to believe his nation needed nuclear weapons. Sung Yoon Lee, the Kim Koo-Korea Foundation professor of Korean Studies at the Fletcher School at Tufts University, told Fox News in an interview. The seeds of nuclear aspirations were sown in the Korean War, Lee said. The Korean War pitted North Korea and its ally China, two nations that did not have nuclear capabilities at the time, against a nuclear-armed U.S., making it clear to the first Kim that nuclear weapons are very powerful, a powerful deterrent, Lee said. Kim Jong-il, leader from 1994-2011 when the second leader of the Kim dynasty died in 2011. Kim Jong-il was remembered as the dictator who turned North Korea into a nuclear state, in his New York Times obituary. And it's Kim Jong-il that really gets the credit of taking the country down the nuclear path, Lee said. In the beginning of his reign, he was North Korea's supreme leader from 1994 to 2011. North Korea denied that it had a nuclear weapons program. However, in 2003, Pyongyang announced that North Korea was withdrawing from the 1968 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which barred the nation from making nuclear weapons. By 2005, North Korea confirmed that it had its own nuclear weapons. It tested its first nuclear device in 2006. Kim Jong-un, leader from 2011. President Kim Jong-un is credited with accelerating North Korea's push for nuclear weapons, and under the Obama administration, many of the world's attitudes toward the East Asian nation's nuclear capabilities became less blasé than in the past, Lee said. And Kim Jong-un recently crossed a major threshold for his country this summer, the ability to credibly threaten the U.S. with an intercontinental ballistic missile. North Korea last week successfully tested its longest ever flight of a ballistic missile. The intermediate-range weapon traveled 3,700 miles and passed over Japan before it landed in the Pacific. Earlier this month, the country also tested its most powerful nuclear test to date. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis condemned the test and said it caused millions of Japanese to duck and cover. Mattis also said the U.S. and Japan are ready for potential future missile threats. After the missile test, Kim Jong-un said North Korea is nearing equilibrium with the U.S. in terms of its military force. The increasingly frequent and aggressive tests have added to outside fears that North Korea is closer than ever to building a military arsenal that could viably target the mainland of the U.S. or its allies in Asia. Trump called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man in his speech to the UN this week and said the dictator is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States has great strength and patience, Trump said. But if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. The Associated Press contributed to this report.